Um, One of the challenges about speaking with autism is autism does not fit into a neat little box of, if a person is A, B, and C, they have autism. It's actually referred to as autism spectrum disorder because there's this huge range of disorders that fall underneath this umbrella called autism. So it's absolutely, completely wrong to generalize when speaking about autism. However, I don't know how to talk about it without generalizing. So I'm going to incorrectly generalize, but just understand that's what I'm doing. Everything I say may apply to one individual or family and not apply to someone else, but this is where I would start. So the isolation of autism. Autism affects the brain, and because it affects the brain, it has an effect on personality and behavior. And it's these personalities and behaviors that can lead to the isolation. For example, one of the common characteristics of autism is an inability or a challenge or an inability to pick up on social cues. For example, if I say something to you that offends you or hurts your feelings or frustrates you, I can probably tell just by the look on your face that I've committed this social error, and from that I can apologize, and then when I speak to you later, I'm not going to repeat that same thing that I said to you. This is just how we learn to interact socially. Many people with autism have a difficult, if not impossible, time picking up on facial expressions. Now, they've identified there's actually a very specific part of the brain called the fusiform face area that has this very specific purpose of interpreting facial expressions and recognizing faces. And the way they can tell this is if they put me or you into an MRI and show us pictures of faces, they can watch on the machine. This one specific area lights up with electrical activity. This part of our brain's working correctly. Well, many people with autism, when put into an MRI and shown pictures of faces, that part of the brain does not light up or lights up sporadically. Now, the reason I point this out is this is important to understand, is this not interpreting facial expressions is not a lack of empathy or a lack of caring or desire to interact socially. It is a physical, quantifiable disability that is preventing this thing from happening. Now, when I say that I said that thing that offended you, I actually probably wouldn't even say that thing to begin with, because it's something that we all take for granted called the theory of mind. And the theory of mind is something that we all develop, or most of us develop between the ages of 3 and 4, and it's a really simple thing, but it's the ability to first recognize that there's other minds other than our own, and then also to put ourselves in the shoes of another person and make an educated guess what that person might be thinking or feeling in a given situation. This is something. This is a learned skill. We don't do this at age 2. We do it at age 4. Well, many people with autism have a difficult time with the theory of mind as well. Putting ourselves in the mind of other people. Again, it's a physical disability. It's a learned skill that wasn't learned. It's not a lack of any desire or caring to communicate. It's a disability. Now, this is one of the challenges with autism. If you can imagine the challenge of going through life, wanting to communicate, but not knowing ahead of time how you say or what you do is going to affect other people. And I can speak for myself and probably everybody here, if we said every single thing we are thinking or feeling about other people, we would be offending people all the time, or we'd be frustrating people all the time. But we have this skill, we don't say it. Well, many people with autism without disability have no choice when wanting to communicate other than saying what they think and expressing themselves, and then the chips fall where they may. Now, of course, like I just mentioned though, without the immediate feedback of things like facial expressions to understand how what we say affects other people, a person with autism often will have a very difficult time communicating and then learning how to communicate from experience. This is a challenge that they face. Now, this is what can lead to the isolation, because it's only natural for all of us if an individual offends us or frustrates us or gets on our nerves, right? We tend to pull away from those individuals. Can't, it's natural. I do it. I mean, we all do. But this is what can lead to isolation, because if you're pulling away from someone with a disability, they wind up, the result is isolation. And the way I like to think of it is if someone bumps into us and we turn around and we see that they have dark glasses and a cane, we see a disability, we recognize that they're blind, and we immediately forgive them, all of us. But with autism, it's invisible. So when someone bumps into us verbally, we turn, we look, we don't see a disability. We just see a man or a woman or a child. And naturally, we tend to pull away from those people that create situations that don't make us happy. But again, it leads to isolation. Now, what's talked about less is the families of autism. And I do believe the parents have it the hardest. face major issues of isolation as well, because if you're a parent and you don't know how your child is going to behave in a given social situation. Now, when I say social situation, I want to clarify, I don't mean like dinner party. I mean like getting a haircut or just going out to Denny's. But if you don't know how your child's going to react to a given social situation and you have enough bad experiences, you can become paralyzed with anxiety and fear over entering into any situation where there are people who don't understand autism and don't understand your child. And I always tell the story. I read a story from a woman who said on Thursdays she would start having panic attacks thinking about a trip to the grocery store on Saturday. This thing that we all just take for granted in their life is this huge hurdle. So this is what Blue Power is about. So Blue Power is about two things. First is about education. And by the way, everybody here now has Blue Power. Right? Blue Power just means knowing a little bit about autism. If this is new to you, you know a little bit now. And by the way, I just told you every single thing I know about autism. I don't know anything. I've only been in this for 14 months since I met Kristen's son, so I don't know anything. But this little bit of knowledge is powerful, because the second part of Blue Power is to act on this knowledge. And it turns out that there's actually a cure for isolation, because the opposite, or excuse me, the antidote for isolation is simple, positive human contact. It is interacting in a positive way with someone with autism or their family. It just means don't look the other way. So the challenge to everybody, and this is again, you have Blue Power, so you have to act on this now. You have to. Is that if you're around someone with autism or a family, engage them in a positive way rather than avoid it. And it sounds so small, but it's not small. It means a friendly smile. It means a reassuring word to a parent whose child's having a meltdown at Walmart. That child, by the way, there's a small chance that's a spoiled child with rotten parents. There's a much larger chance this is a child with autism having sensory issues and inability to communicate them. And a reassuring word to that parent in that situation is life-changing. So Blue Power is acting on this. It's engaging the person with autism and family in a positive way. And by doing so, this family will feel less isolation than they felt the day before when there was no disc golfers around to make their life better. So that's what I have to say about it.